What's up?
Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today. With me, have some more RPG horror stories. This year is gonna be the year that Morrow blows the hell up. I'm gonna blow up like a fireball, baby. We doing RPG horror stories, other D&D videos, live streams. Oh, it's gonna be fantastic. Also, Mary made a horrible suggestion of opening up an OnlyFans called Only Thieves. So no, we're not doing that. That's one thing we're not doing this year, maybe. Anyway, let's get some RPG horror stories for today. Didn't make it to the game cause of GM rules. Am I wrong? This is a relatively short, IRL time-wise story, considering that I didn't play a single game with this GM. But I guess that's still a horror story because finding a group is the first thing everybody does before playing. Everything happened online. Also, sorry for mistakes from non-native speaker. A few days ago, I was talking to my friend that I wanted to try a new RPG system besides D&D, which I find quite boring. He was my close friend and we knew each other mostly through TTRPGs. He said there's a group where he is a player that has one of the greatest GMs of all time, and that they need a new player. But I should put a real effort into character creation and obey a few rules if I want to participate. The system is storytelling. The one used the Vampire the Masquerade setting, but we're supposed to play common humans in the first game. It was interesting for me as a system based on social mechanics more than a combat mechanic, so I accepted. It was a bit suspicious why good GM lost some of his players in the middle of the campaign, but whatever. Character creation was not a problem. Usually not too heavy backstories, but for the social gameplay, I could try this for once. Rule was not a problem either, at least I thought so, but the importance turned out to be underestimated. Number of rules were vague, but friends said there's 3. Story first. Basically means that a character we can't ruin story. Seemed kinda like railroading, but he said that I just shouldn't ruin setting and we can still do whatever our characters would. So it could make a great story. Basically no metagaming and murder hoping, I suppose. Justified. The way it's worded is just really weird. What does that mean, story first? Can we get like a proper readout? Is that like a proper posting about it? Is that like a proper write-out of how it's supposed to function? Like, what if, let's say, for example, your character, like the story is you're supposed to try to meet the king, but if your character backstory is you kind of go against the monarchy and you don't really want to meet the king. Do you ignore your character's specific motivations of not wanting to deal with the monarchy and the kingdom? Or do you have to just be like, okay, my character clearly hates it, hates the monarchy, but I'll go meet because the DM wants us to do as part of this story. Like, how much story first are we putting on here, you know? Because it's kind of important. Being involved into game. No sudden leaving from Discord during the session. No out of game activities during the game unless it's absolutely necessary. Kind of justified. As you see, I couldn't check out how these 2 rules worked in game because the other rule appeared first. Humane attitude. Very, very vague rule. Basically includes everything from be polite to GM is always right and never lie. Also, it means carefully listen to all my voice messages. We'll come to this later, but it seemed fine by its name. Okay, vagueness in rules is a red flag already. The fact that things aren't written out directly to make sure that you know exactly what the rules are is already kind of a red flag to me personally. But let's cover one specific. GM is always right. Are they always right? Can they never be wrong? What if they make a really bad ruling? Or maybe they do a ruling that you don't agree with? You just have to just ignore it entirely? You can't provide any feedback? What does that mean by GM is always right? Is it GM is always right and you're always wrong? Or GM is always right and they can't be wrong ever, so therefore you can't question them and can't give any feedback kind of thing? Like, how deep does that go? Because from the way it's written, it's extremely vague to the point of, I don't know about you, but I'm going to just assume that it's the GM is always right, the bad version. GM is always right, I'm always wrong, and I can't give any feedback, and if I don't like it, then I just suck as a player kind of thing. I don't know, man. Sometimes some GMs can be like that. They can be kind of tyrannical overlords as soon as you put them in the GM seat, because they don't play as just another player at the table. They play as, I am the GM, I'm the god of this world. Now smite your player character if you decide to wrong me kind of way, which is not a good way to play. I'm saying all this now just to show that on a base level, I was fine with all of this, especially after seeing a lot of horror stories where GMs suffered from problem players and inconsistencies in the group. Considering it's a really good GM, keeping expectations from players on high level is important. I accepted the deal. First, I couldn't message him by his user ID because his messages were locked from non-friends and non-player users unlike mine, but for some reason he didn't want to message me first too. So I waited for 1 to 2 days before he managed to lock his messages. It wasn't important when this happened, but now I'm not sure if this was not a red flag. DM that doesn't want to DM you to talk about the game is kind of a problem. I don't know, man. Like, if you don't want to be the one to DM first, at least have your DMs opened. I always have my DMs opened. I have a couple people that joined the server recently that maybe are a little bit too busy and, you know, they haven't got around to making a player character yet in my campaign. And that's okay. I keep my DMs open and they can hit me up anytime. Be like, yo, I'm ready to make my character so we can get going. A DM that doesn't keep themselves available for players to contact, kind of a weird one to do. Maybe not a red flag, but definitely weird. It was offline quite often. My friends say that he's just busy. Okay, in general, conversation was fine. He seemed quite friendly. Asked the right questions, everything I would expect from GM. But also there was some signs of warning. Try to list everything I knew about Vampire the Masquerade in detail. I'm mostly just interested in role-playing and roleplay systems in general, and didn't play or read anything related to VTM besides the basic rules, a few videos, and my general knowledge about vampires. For some reason, GM assumed that my knowledge comes from ChatGPT or TikTok. What? Because I listed too much specific details of systems. I'm not sure what I was supposed to write then. Some parts from lore? Description from vampires from Twilight or something like this? So you could say that kid's fairy tale? World Darkness is much more dark and violent, let me explain. Maybe I was too blank and he assumed I knew all the stuff separately. Without connection between them? I don't know. That is kind of crazy to assume somebody just straight up getting knowledge from ChatGPT or TikTok. I mean, if they're just getting general glossary knowledge and they're just getting general glossary knowledge, I don't know why GM is trying to like dissect your knowledge and try to figure out where you got your resources from and stuff. Like if I ask somebody, hey, have you ever played D&D? And they say, no, I haven't, but I watched a TikTok, a bunch of shorts from this YouTube channel about D&D and it seemed fun and I played Baldur's Gate. I'm like, okay, cool. At least they know a little bit about the general systems. So I have to start from bare scratch essential. I'm not trying to dissect where they got the information from. I don't care if they got the information from TikToks or anything. I could care less, just as long as they knew that you roll dice. That's the only thing I care about. Also separately, a few times he tried to emphasize how dark the world of darkness is. He was good at making a tempting voice, so this was impressive. If you watch it in a horror film, hypnotized by its cruelty, and subconsciously enjoy the moment of dread and awfulness that happened in the world, you'd be excited to see this in our roleplay. Well, classic edgy style, which you'd have expected from VTM. I'm not a big fan of everyone died and everything was sad, blood on my hands remained silent. I knew that it may be important for other players, so I wasn't gonna ignore it or ruin it, so it was fine with me. Wow, the edge. After a few days of interviewing, I got invited into a group chat. Heard that one of the players didn't want me to join during this day, but I didn't even face who exactly it was and why. In group chat, there was like 6 or 7 other people, but the only people who texted me were me, my friend, another experience with a GM player who was kind of nice, and GM himself. Games obviously included more than 3 players, but in a few days I was in this group, I never saw the other players' messages. At first it was fine. I was chatting with my friends, another guy in the group, and about what we're going to play, about World of Darkness and funny facts about it. An experienced guy said, if everything would be fine, we could play it for the rest of our lives. Okay. I was fine to play a few sessions of a full campaign there, but lifelong play seemed kind of over-exaggerated. Even if it was a joke, did they really consider that a new player who joined a chat after a few days of interviews could easily come into playing for years and years in a different campaign with one GM? Happens sometimes, but it'd be very optimistic to assume. Looked like they were not looking for new players per sessions or campaign, looking for new passionate members of the lifelong community. Red flag. Maybe someone who has no other things to do in free time could like this, but for me it was suspicious. Again, it's like a joke from a player, so I hand-waved that. Are you joining a cult? Because it sounds like you might be joining a cult. Just a little bit. I don't know, man. A lifelong player that's like, oh, we could play this forever. What? I hope I'm not playing it forever. Maybe take some breaks here or there, you know? Then Jim got into the chat. Started to record his voice message, reading some of my messages and commenting them. He got to my response about vampires that were sent to other players and that we had fun discussing about. I heard that there's supposed to be one vampire by 100k people, destiny in the setting. We discussed numbers. This was a video GM sent to me. He didn't have fun. He said it's of wrong information and I should say what my sources before asking about facts like that. I say there was just a little discussion. Everybody already explained to me everything. He answered that it doesn't matter what I'm asking or where. Everything in chat's supposed to be explained. If it's not directed to another player specifically, That's his problem too. Oh my god. Okay, if you play with this kind of GM that's like, if you're not providing sources for the things you're talking about, then you are not allowed to participate in it. It's so dumb. It's so fucking dumb. Imagine you just having a casual conversation, talk about like, you know, regular like fireball memes or some sort of memes you saw on, I don't know, Twitter or something, and suddenly the GM is like, let's provide the sources. That is not reality. That's not real. Like, okay, I've been in that kind of position where a player tells me like, hey, well, I want to do this feature. I'm like, I never heard of this feature. What is that? And like, oh, I found it on here and linked to some sort of like a homebrew link. I'm like, hey, that's a homebrew link. That's not allowed. And I mean, yeah, sometimes it does kind of annoy me at times. Like, but like to just go into somebody over a discussion or something and be like, let's provide sources and stuff that you can't talk about it. Like, what? It's crazy. It's one thing if players are just talk about something from a homebrew that just not in the game and stuff and he gets confused over it. But it's another thing to specifically list sources. It's nuts. Also, he asked me to say thank you to the player who I talked with. Doesn't matter that I wasn't asking anything and there was no help me situation. Just say thank you to the player who spent time with you. Okay? People have different styles of texting about forcing people to say something because your personality seems rude. What is this? Again, just some basic stuff. And I just joined a chat. It's fine. Is it fine? I don't know. Then started a problem with voice messages. I'll be honest, I kind of cheese this rule a little. No matter who it was sent to, everyone should listen everything GM says. Wait. Everything in every response? First of all, if you have the ability to do a voice memo, you have the ability to type, motherfucker, type. You're not so self-important that everybody has to listen to your little decrees and stuff. I can't imagine myself putting up my phone to my mouth and leaving a voice memo in a Discord chat and forcing everybody to listen to it. I hate the sound of my voice. I don't know if anybody knows this, but I hate the sound of my voice. I would hate for people to listen to my voice. I hate to listen to my own voice and stuff. I'd rather type things out and maybe type a specific response so everybody can be in on it and read it at their own convenience instead of listening to a voice, because that forces everybody to stop everything they're doing, stop their ears, listen to something else, and focus and listen to every single voice memo that is sent out. That is asinine. That is insane. Your GM is insane. Seriously. His style of talking was encouraging to listen everything because he could talk about anything in any message, and any of them could be pointed at me. But also, rule said that messages should be listened to on 1 time speed and in the same order it was sent. What? I know that rule should be made for people who listen voices on background and don't pay attention to, but always listen to it closely, just like reading text. So just listen to it on 1.5 or 2 times sometimes. Ooh, you rebel. It was hard because there was often noise. Listening on something except one was impossible. But I never skipped it, and when I wrote messages, I paused it, so there couldn't be possibility of mishearing something. It didn't help. Not because I unthoughtlessly listened to the message too fast or they listened to something, but because one time I accidentally clicked onto the next voice message while listening to the first message, and he immediately got notified and said that it's suspicious that I skipped through messages too fast. I explained to him that's an accident, but now he starts to count how fast I'm listening to messages somehow, and constantly asking me at the speed I'm listening messages. What? Dude is actually timing you and gets notified when you access his voice memos and is actually questioning about the speed that you're listening them at. This guy has nothing to do in his life. This dude literally has nothing else to do in his life except be some sort of what? Like a Discord moderator or some Reddit moderator and count how long it takes you to listen through his voice memo. And then police you about how fast you decide to listen through in his voice. This guy is insane. This guy is insane. Is this supposed to be the best GM? This guy is insane. New day arrives. I'm talking with people about something and we all chill. GM appears and asks why I didn't say good morning at the start of conversation. Really? We're gonna police when people say good morning too? And thank yous? This guy sucks, dude. This guy sucks. I hate this guy already. Strange thing again, but okay. I say good morning. While I'm doing some stuff IRL, GM drops information about the session for new players. He asked me why didn't I answer, and I'm saying I'm busy. He's fine with this. Once in a while, he didn't make a problem out of nothing. you know he definitely made a problem. He's seething. He's smoldering and seething in the background, and he's just not vocalizing it. He's plotting and counting how long you're gonna take not to look at this, because he's literally counting the minutes and hours you're looking at his little handout that he designed for you. At evening, I look into the one chat information. It's basically a story about two families, one of which is rough and lives somewhere at the north. They plan to rescue their relatives from the police. Blood-strong family vibes. Another one visiting the same place because they're having some problems. So they hope they'll find something that can help them at the north, where their heritage comes from. Since the storytelling system is based on the modern times, it was interesting to me. 2 players for each family. Basically, each family has adult leader, young second player, and other NPCs that are important to the story but should not lead us to railroad because of the description or condition, like the silent daughter or weak uncle or dog. It was a very interesting concept, giving experienced players to shine, while I, as a new player, could learn the system and let them lead in action. I chose a family that was led by my friend. I was really happy and excited and discussed it with members of the group. The 4th player wasn't there due to his personal life, as GM said before, so nobody asked. GM appeared again, making a long 20-minute voice message about everything we were talking. I listened to everything, wrote a message for every point he made towards me, sometimes just neutral stuff for discussing, but sometimes there were suspicious questions. He said he doesn't understand the order in which I'm answering in his voice message, and asked at what speed I'm listening to voice messages again. Also, he pointed out I didn't answer his previous VM. It was like, guys, if you have any questions or opinions on this game. For me, it was the same as, if you have questions, ask me. But for him, it meant that everyone should answer, do they have questions or not. I'm pretty sure I was the only one who was asked about this. He pointed a few times that I should directly answer yes or accepted, or yes I want to his questions, even if I was something obvious or didn't seem like a question, like, so you want to play our game it seems. Explaining what game it is in the rest of the message, like I already said yes, which obviously would. I should answer yes to the first, like it's document. This guy's insane. He's literally making you answer contracts on a voice memo. This is crazy. This is a GM that's literally like got nothing else to do. Dude literally got nothing else going on in his life except like DMing this and lording over you guys. This is insane. After that, we had a conversation about my speed of listening again, when he said, I kindly accept the strange timing as a bugs from the app that we're using, but next time be careful. In this conversation, he sent more voice messages than he sent for a whole day before that, and I suspect he was counting how fast I'm going to listen to them. Also, he said, you know, if you don't like my rules, there's always an alternative option. You could just pay me, so I would just ignore this behavior. Some people do this. Basically stating that we are livestock, that worth nothing without obeying the rules. I wonder why they're looking for new players then. Oh my god, this is insane, dude. This is crazy. Dude's literally like, can ignore the rules if you just pay me. What a prick. Dude, get yourself out of this game. Please, I hope you get yourself out early. There's still a lot more to read, by the way. There's still, like, this is a whole long ass story, so we're continuing this. At the end, he sent a big voice message, few minutes long, and then 3-second voice message with short, obvious answer to one of my messages to check in what order I would listen to them. I listened to the long voice message and left a short one unlistened just to check what he would do. After a few minutes, he pinged me that I didn't listen to the short one, and I said I was just finishing the previous one. This is obviously giving me a headache. Dude got nothing else going on in his life except to count the seconds that you're spending listening to the voice message, expect you to listen to the specific order that he expects you to listen to. This is an insane guy. This dude is insane. He's bad insane. I hope you don't join this game. This is nuts, dude. This guy's actually got nothing else going on in his life except to count the seconds that people listen to his voice memo. Insanity. So I messaged to my friend to ask if he already has some ideas of characters he will make for our family, that I didn't want to bother people in GM and group, which was partially true, considering that instead of discussing one shot, he spent a lot of time suspecting me to not obeying the rules. He said that he has something in his mind, but we shouldn't discuss it here. I noticed that GM started to record a voice message in a group chat and jokingly texted, lol, I hope he didn't smell our little private conversation from far away, in which my friend hesitated for a bit and said, well, I didn't want to say it earlier, but rules are rules and you already broke some of them. Maybe it sounds like I'm in cult, but the rules are actually pretty wise and help with our microclimate, so I couldn't leave a conversation like this and I'd send it to GM. Your friend is even ratting on you to this cult leader. Your friend is not a cult. This is a cult. They're even saying it's a cult. They're saying out loud, maybe it sounds like I'm in a cult, because you are. These guys are in a cult. 100% insane. This is dumb. This is dumb. GM sent a voice memo for everyone in a matter like, guys, you know that you don't need to discuss anything anywhere else. Then messaged me in group but notifying me directly this time, asking, are you ready for your second chance and do you want to continue or leave? With some grumbling about me disappointing him. Okay, no conversation in person messages, I suppose. I continue to be in this group. You can't even DM somebody, dude. You can't even direct message somebody just to ask them a question, like a regular ass question about like, hey, what kind of character you want to make? God forbid you want to have a private DM with somebody else that you're talking to. It's like, hey, so what sort of characters you want to make, huh? That apparently is a bad thing. It's outlawed, according to this GM. This is insanity, dude. This is like insane cult. Oh my god, I'm actually losing my gasket over this. At this point, I decided to make as little conversation as possible, appearing in chat from time to time. I would ask the most necessary questions, sound like create a character, drop it in occasionally so GM would record hours of the voice messages and I could work with them one by one. Maybe I would even manage to survive long enough to play an actual game. It was planned the characters should be finished in 2 weeks. After one additional week, you could play one shot. Maybe I could finally see if GM was actually as good as everybody else was saying. He occasionally dropped in messages that he is a great GM, but he does like to talk about it. And if I'd still be mistreated in group, I would drop off afterwards. I would be writing even more funny stories about this GM and his rules in the post. But no, the last third day. Nobody has much to say. They just casually drop good morning. I have some IRL stuff to do, so I'm just checking all my messages to go through my stuff. GM appears and out of nowhere asking me why I didn't say good morning. It's like 2 p.m, middle of the day, mind you. And the conversation goes like this. There's like 7 people in this group, only 3 of them saying good morning. That's the current players who are supposed to actually engage in game. You included. Okay, what about the 4th player in a one-shot? He's listed there. Remember that player's busy with some personal stuff, but it seems like he can be silent during morning greetings. So if I'm busy, I can be silent too, right? Well, his relative died yesterday. Did your relative die yesterday too? It was like a blast. It was rude, terrible, horrific, everything at once. I'll be okay and understand if he just said, a tragedy happened to him recently, or don't touch him, it's related to his personal stuff. But no, he just casually dropped some deep fact about personal tragedy as a mockery to my excuses to not write good morning every day. Oh yeah, people that do that sort of thing, they're literally like, oh, look at this player, he got that stuff going on. Do you have that excuse? That's not excuse to act like an asshole in the slightest whatsoever. Like if somebody doesn't want to say good morning, oh well, it's not a big deal. I don't hound anybody for not telling me good morning. Nobody told me, hey Morrow, nice balls today. Also, yes, I do expect you guys. Also, no, I don't expect people to go in the comments saying, hey Morrow, nice balls today, because I would never expect anybody to do something so asinine and stupid. I don't care if somebody wishes me good morning, good night, good day, or good day in hell, you hell spawn. I wouldn't care. I genuinely wouldn't care, because you know what? If people want to do it, they're more than welcome to. But otherwise, it's not a requirement. It's not like a part of some sort of a crazy social contract that you have to be part of, because we're not all in a cult. If I wrote anything related to this player, if I would be rude to this player before, despite any warnings about his personal life, as it happens in some other stories about problem players, even so, dropping his relative died to defend the player would be rude. But GM dropping it just to defend his own crazy rules? That's not a good argument to say. I couldn't express how rude it was because everything was fast and I didn't even fully understand what happened. Don't bother me. If I want something, you say it. If you don't want, go off. No compromises. The name I said I have isn't even my real name, a-hole. And then I leave the group. He writes some slurs to me in private chat and blocks me. I should say that previously he was saying something about not lying and asked for a real name. It was more comfortable to use nickname, and he insisted. Also, he wanted a video with my face and voice, so I dropped some common name like it's my real life name. Interesting, I didn't lie about anything except that, but I could imagine how it felt to use fake name for the whole time you tried to make someone obey. Accidental mic drop moment, I suppose. which is even more sad for me for some reason. Wait. They have to get you to make a video of your face and voice? What are you signing up for? OnlyFans? That's what OnlyFans do. And don't ask me how I know this. The cat knows, but Morrow doesn't know. But anyway, doesn't matter. This is insane. What are you signing up for? OnlyFans? Are you submitting your government-issued information to some sort of company or something? This is a cult. Just so you can have your name and voice and he can blackmail you maybe. I don't know. Something like that. Government, he's not asking for your like IP address, or maybe he even got your IP address at this point. Your address, social security number, and everything else on top of that. Jesus Christ. Aftermath. I was only worried about my friend who invited me, because who knows what crazy GM would do to his worshippers or letting him misbehavior in chat. But it seems my friend is fine. Maybe he secured his position by snitching on me during our private conversation, who knows. And I'm not mad at him. He's a fine guy with some thirst for role-playing, and maybe he will have a great session there. Also, I'm worried about the guy with personal tragedy, because if he's already signed to take part in a one-shot, maybe he wanted to move on from real life and ruin it partially. I hope he would be good. Regardless of how somebody is thirsty for roleplay, you don't find in a cult. Dude, you don't find it in a cult. They haven't even started the game. They literally didn't even start the game. How are you getting into roleplay in a cult? It's like this, where they're just still listening to the voice memos, busy listening to the voice memo of some jackass and stuff. This is insane. This is bizarre, dude. This is crazy. If you're thirsty for roleplay, join a roleplay group somewhere else that's outside of D&D or TTRPGs in general. Holy hell. It's not that difficult. Join some text roleplay group in Discord or something. I'm sure there's some games going on there where you can join a play-by-post if you really want your roleplay fix. Anyway, I was supposed to tolerate 3 weeks of this behavior, so I don't regret to drop it early, because it seemed like it would be only worse and worse if I kept trying to stay there. Maybe he's a really good GM. Maybe he has a reason to make up all the rules. At the end, it really helped him to get rid of problem players, breakers of the rules early. But I wonder where lies in the line between a passionate community and being a cult. Maybe I'm not right. I'm just not a good player in general. I'm not disappointed in RPGs and will look for another game, or even GM one by myself. We'll see. Nah, dude. This guy is literally a filter. He created a filter to basically filter out players that are not willing to deal with his monotonous nonsense. He literally created people that are only willing to tolerate and submit to what he wants them to do. As a GM myself, I don't leave voice memos to my players. We just get together, run a session, figure out what the session is all about, do proper scheduling, and then we talk normally. I don't even know what my players look like IRL. I just know them from other friend circles and friend groups and VR chat and stuff, and we just play regularly. I don't keep track of how long my players will read through the messages and stuff. I don't even care if sometimes players forget they even have specific features because it's been a hot minute since we played together, because it's fine. It's human. This guy's trying to make a cult of simpletons that are basically going to submit to his will. That's literally what he wants. He wants people that are submissive and going to listen to his whims instead of actually playing in a damn game, because guys even haven't started playing a game already, and everybody's just found the rules blindly. These stupid rules or stupid arbitrary rules. If you don't do things his way, then suddenly you're a problem. But he never hears the problem. GM is always right. It's part of the rules, mind you. There's a list of all the rules I stumbled upon during my introduction. Not even Discord call we're supposed to play in later. Outside of 3 simple rules, marketing, more of them go under the humane attitude rule. Rules outside the game for chat. This is outside the game, by the way, mind you. Listen to all voice messages, no matter the context or who they're sent to. Listen to all voice messages at the one-time speed and in the same order it was sent, no matter what you think. Never lie. Nothing should be hidden if the GM asks for it. He asks if you're comfortable to share something, but accept some deeply personal stuff. He could ban you for not sharing. Everything related to games should be discussed in group chat or sent directly to GM, not talks behind backs. That's a GM that literally has no confidence whatsoever. That's a GM that has no spine and no confidence and has literally such low self-esteem. If something asked in a group chat, this counts the same as asking DM, and it should provide additional information on where you heard/read something, even if his own message. Crazy. If someone in voice message GM asked or vaguely mentioned that he wants to know your opinion, you should take this as a direct question and give a straight answer to it. Jesus Christ. Always say good morning, good night every day if you appear online, and say thank you if someone shared some info with you, if it was discussed or you didn't ask for it. Also, once he asked me to congrats him for having a shower, there's some saying in our language that it can be joking said that something after this, but he immediately noticed when everyone said it to him and I did not. I guess it's like an etiquette. I don't know what culture that does it, but that's crazy. Congratulating somebody over a shower. This guy's 100% a Discord mod. 8. If you don't like something, you can very, very politely ask about it without being rude. But you know how it usually goes if you ask to change the rules. Be passionate about the game, in and out of game and chat. It's part of your life now. I guess that's why players expected me to last there for years. If you don't like the rules, you can pay to GM to ignore it. Absolute insanity. Also, your last part, if this is too much, or am I just ungrateful newbie? No, you're not the a-hole. The DM is, and people that are following his crazy cult rules. This is an insane cult of personality, cult of the and not for me kind of thing, or whatever people like to call it. This is just the guy that wants to lord his power over everybody else. It's just an insecure, insignificant little twerp that wants to feel powerful and for people to listen to him. He's literally he's counting how many seconds you spend listening to his stupid fucking voice memos. He's counting the seconds you listen of his stupid fucking insignificant dumbass voice memos. This is just a crazy lunatic. This is a crazy lunatic cult leader, and this is just you don't need this. You really don't need this at all in the slightest. Good thing you're not playing with this GM. Good thing you quit out and not playing with this. Good luck to your friend. Hopefully they can stop chugging the Kool-Aid and find a decent group to roleplay with. This is not worth. If you're thirsty for roleplay, dude, there's better avenues than some idiot that has some sort of cult-like rules. There's way better instances to get your roleplay fix. Absolutely crazy, dude. I've never seen a cult member DM before until this very story. This might be the first one I've ever heard about. Well, maybe not the first one I've ever heard about, but it's the first one that I personally read about. So there is that. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.